Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Comics in Brief, our news and review show of comics that came out this week. My name is Yule. Let's get on to it. First up, we have Mighty Thor number 704. This is the continuation of the death of the Mighty Thor. Jane Foster has cancer, and every time she picks up the hammer to become the Mighty Thor, she furthers her cancer along when she changes back to human form. I really wish I would have said something about this in This Week in Comics, because I really knew how this issue was going to come about and play out, and I really blew it because it would have looked cool. Anyhow, I like the issue a lot. It continues the story that we feel like we know where it's going. The title pretty much gives it away. The art's beautiful, and probably an emotional ending is going to be coming about real soon. So, pick up Thor, number 705 is going to be a big issue. This has been a really good series so far. Next up, we have Vinegar Teeth number 2, a miniseries from Dark Horse Comics. I recommended the first issue back when it came out. I really liked it. Didn't really know exactly what I wanted to say about it, and reading the second issue, I almost felt the same way, but I realize now. The colorist by Guy Major is just really good. It is lavish, and it really helps in telling the story in a way that, although other comics have some really great coloring, and a lot of comics are really dependent on the coloring, this comic isn't, but it's just as much a part of the storytelling as the very good art and the very fun writing. It's neither the funniest book I've ever read or the greatest art I've ever seen. It really complements everything well and drives home the story in a way that usually colors just don't do for me. So, Vinegar Teeth. It is still out, and it has a couple more issues to go, so pick it up. Next up, we have Bloodborne from Titan Comics. This is a mini-series written by Alice Cope. He's done a bunch of other things that have been pretty well received, and I really like the art by this Peter Kowalski. I don't know anything about the video game. I don't know anything about the story, but I just went in and read this book, and I really liked the weapon that this dude was swinging. It was it looked like a radiator or something, and he was totally chomping up these like undead or something like that. Anyway, the story has a little bit of twist at the end, enough to make me want to check out the second book. It was pretty good for a tie-in to some thing I have no use for, but it was a pretty good comic. I recommend people checking it out. Next up, we have Damage number 2, the first comic of the new Age of Heroes that DC is putting out. At the end of the first issue, the Suicide Squad were gonna be brought in to take care of our main character, and in this issue they confront him. The action is hot and heavy, and I recommend it for that alone. The story progresses just a bit more, and we get a little bit more of the idea of the creature in his head actually talking to our main character. I recommend picking it up. It's a good issue, and I like the way it's being interwoven within the DC universe. Last up, we have Deathbed number 1, a DC Comics miniseries written by Joshua Williamson. Joshua Williamson also writes The Flash for DC. He also writes Nailbiter for Image Comics. And the art is by Riley Rossmo, and he has a very good style. He's done some Batman recently for DC. He also did the Batman Shadow story that DC and Dynamite put out. I recommend this book. I really enjoyed it. It was funny, and I liked the way the story was told. Oh, actually, one of the really great things about it is the captions. It was a narrator that wasn't a character in the story. It was amazing, actually, now that I think about it, because you never get that anymore. It drives me crazy. People in the story narrating through caption boxes. It's just horrible. So, just that alone is a reason to pick up this book. Another thing, I gotta say, Riley Rossmo has a problem. he has an Achilles heel, if you will, and it's drawing feet in comic books. He draws these really little pointy things, and you can say it's stylized, but he gets away with it because he's a very good illustrator. But Riley Wasserman's got to work on some feet. Anyway, Deathbed number 1, I really enjoyed it. I'm going to pick up the entire series, and I recommend you do too. Marvel has a couple of contracts of some creators that are going to be leaving. Chris Samney is exiting Marvel with Captain America number 700. He worked with Mark Waid on a number of books. And also, with the cancellation of Luke Cage, David F. Walker is on his way out also. We wish them the best of luck and know they're going to be doing plenty of awesome things in the future. And the day after the last episode that we aired of this program, Marvel announced a fresh start. In May, it's going to kick off a brand new numbering of a bunch of Marvel books, including Avengers number 1, which is going to be created by writer Jason Aaron and art by Ed McGuinness. Marvel also announced that Avengers would be published 18 times in the year, rather than having 3 different books. That's, I guess, a welcome thing. Thank you, everybody, for watching another episode. We really appreciate it, and just to let everybody know, we have gone over 100 subscribers, which has allowed us to change the URL, which is an awesome first step in growing our channel. So I want to thank everybody for all of that. If you haven't subscribed to the show, please do. I also recommend hitting the bell for notifications and liking the video, and let us know what you think of what we have talked about in this show in the comments down below. And also we have an eBay store. We're putting up a lot of cool things. We just put up a bunch of things in the last day or two. So go here to see some of that stuff. There's already people checking it out. You can be one too. And we'll see you next week.